So, Corona, we're watching your story unfold this season on 90 Day Fiancé the other way. What are you thinking while watching it back?
It's very weird to watch yourself on TV. I'm really like, does my voice sound like that? Do I really talk that fast? And I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's really surreal to see myself like that.
And can you tease a bit about what else we're going to get to see with your story later in the season?
Um, there's gonna be a lot of me trying to teach Inky how to be in a relationship. So there'll be a tutorial.
Now, has anything that Inky has said while you weren't on camera shocked you, surprised you? Like how he said marriage wasn't really on his mind?
I'm a little bit shocked by that. I will say what he says on camera and what he says to me off camera are definitely different stories.
Now, I saw in the upcoming episode you weren't too happy with how Inky greeted you when you arrived in Iceland. Walk me through what was going through your mind in that moment.
I think I was just so excited to see him because we hadn't seen each other in quite some time. And so I was expecting some like big romantic, like pick me up, give me a big hug and a kiss and a smack on the ass or something. And, I got a little like, there you go. Here's some pink roses, which like were lovely, but he knows I hate pink. So it's like, did you think of me?
And you had said that in past times when you had met up, he had been much more excited. What had it been like in the past when he greeted you?
Definitely much more excited. I mean, not flowers. That was the first time I got flowers, but definitely like grander gestures, a big hug, a kiss. Like, I don't know, I felt more welcomed in the past. But maybe he was just a little nervous.
Yeah, it could be different because like you're on camera. Maybe he was just feeling a little bit shy to show affection on camera or something like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's maybe what it was.
Now, we all know that the 90 Day Fiancé fans can be pretty intense. They aren't afraid to share their opinions. What do you have to say to any of the critics of your relationship?
I mean, people are gonna critique. I'm not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, and that's totally fine. I personally don't care what people have to say about me. Like their opinion of me isn't really my deal. So like keep saying it. Sometimes I read the most rude things about me and I just laugh. It's like, okay, because it's just wrong. And I know my truth and I know that it's not that.
Now, we've also seen this season, you've talked about how you're trying to be gentle in this relationship with Inky and maybe hold back your anger or your emotions. Are we going to get to see maybe you showing more of those emotions later in the season, or is that something that you're just trying to work on in general?
I will say twofold, maybe just continue to watch and see what happens. But it is something that I'm trying to work on in general. I think, I'm coming into my 30s. I'm not a teenager anymore. I'm not in my 20s. You can't just pop off the handles every time you get upset. So it's just something that me and my therapist are working on.
And how have your friends and family reacted while watching the season back? Have they come around about your relationship?
I think so. It's really funny. Like I think the scene with my family was everyone's favorite scene, and my grandma was like the star of that episode. So like she's loving it and loving the attention. So, but as far as the relationship goes, I do think slowly we're all becoming to be on the same page.
Now, a lot of fans and your friends were a bit concerned about your career and how you left behind this prestigious school to pursue love. What was your reaction to that? And do you understand where they're coming from with their concerns?
I fully understand where they're coming from. Being a midwife has always been like my biggest dream. So, and anyone who knows me knows that. But, and I cannot stress this enough, I'm never giving up my dreams. I'm still going to be a midwife at the end of the day, whether I go to school at Penn or I go to school at the University of Iceland or I go to school at the University of France, I will become a midwife. So I'm still very much so working towards my goals.
And what have been your favorite things about moving to Iceland and maybe some things that have surprised you?
Um, so every time that I've been to Iceland has been in the wintertime for the most part, like when I visited previously. And so this is my first time seeing like an Icelandic summer. Oh my goodness, so beautiful. Everyone should come. I highly recommend it.
I totally get that. I'm from Alaska, so I feel like it's similar in the terms of like how much sun there is in the summer, and the summer time's probably are very beautiful.
Yes, I've never experienced anything like it.
Has anything surprised you about being on the show in general?
Um, Not necessarily. I think I was kind of really prepared. Like, fans are gonna say mean things. I'm gonna see myself on TV and like, oh Lord, what have I said? Because you kind of don't remember everything that happened when you're filming. So when you come back to it, like months, sometimes even years later, for some people between filming and watching, it's like, oh my gosh, how could I say that? Like with the whole kiss like the grandma thing, I do not remember saying.
And were you a fan of the show before you became a part of it?
Definitely. I haven't seen all the episodes or all the spin-offs, but I do like I have seen some enough to be like, you know, these crazy people are moving across the country for like the love of their lives. Like that's amazing that people have that courage and are like as big of like love as I do. And I just love love.
Were there any couples that you were a fan of that have been on the show?
Yeah, I definitely think like Kenny and Armando are probably one of my favorites. They're just so cute and I want to be friends with them. And also I think Lauren and Alexi, like I really enjoyed watching their story like unfold. Just like it seems like those two were like true love stories. Like they genuinely care about each other. And I love to see that.
How did this all come to be? Like, was it your idea to be on the show? Was it Inky's idea, or how did this come about?
Ingi had never heard of the show starting out. So we did like it was originally my idea, but very much so a mutual decision. Like I had him binge watch a few seasons, like, okay, this is what we're getting into. Like, yes or no. Like at the end of the day, I made it totally his call. If he didn't want to, we for sure were not going to. But, we did it. So he agreed in the end.
Have you reached out to any of the other couples on this season, or any past seasons couples? Maybe forged any friendships?
So there have been a few people from previous seasons that have come like into my DMs on social media just to like welcome me to the 90-day family. And I think that's so sweet. And I do like talk to the other castmates, well, some of the other castmates from this season. And there's some really amazing people this season. And I'm so excited to watch their stories unfold.
Without spoiling anything, obviously, this is more of just a general question. But what is it about Inky that drew you to him and made you want to pursue this like long-term relationship with him?
I think especially in the beginning, he was so different than anyone else that I've been with. Like I'm not new to relationships. So I've had my fair share and he's nothing like anyone I've ever been with before and just seemed very genuine and sweet and comes from such like a soft background that I'm not used to. So it's kind of like the yin and the yang, like maybe his softness can like smooth out my hardness a bit.
And were you concerned at all when you realized that he hadn't really been in that many like relationships before to being with you?
Definitely. I think in the very beginning, I convinced myself, like, oh, he was just waiting for me. And then, like, okay, Corona, really? Is that what it is? Or is this like, okay, is that a little concerning? Maybe just a